Hey everyone, I just want to give you a quick update. After getting so much feedback from you guys on the poll that was put up a couple weeks ago, I was able to go through, the results of that, and then a lot of the comments as well on the YouTube post as well as on subreddit. Thank you all so much for the feedback. It was really helpful. This is something I'd like to do every now and then. Something that we didn't really used to do before, but I want to, uh, you know, as far as this channel goes, course correct every now and then and make sure that things are kind of steering towards, what people want to see, and as well as balancing what I'm able to do. So, you can't really do that in an isolated system. So, yeah, thank you so much for all the feedback with that. So, it more or less kind of interestingly enough reinforces more things that I thought, which is that like we're pretty much on the correct path in terms of what we're putting out, and a lot of LPs come down to the game selection is really important. The ability to pick something that is if it's new, you want to have people that like are not super lost. We need to kind of work on a couple of things. Of course, there's Reggie and Min just getting more experienced with the like the LP game, as it were, and then there's making sure that we're not all lost and little things like that. So that's stuff that we're definitely aware of, and game selection is really, really key. The length of the game, making sure that it doesn't kind of become a factor that like kind of makes people not really want to return and things like that. So a lot of that is always sort of being thought about in the background, but there's a few other things going on in terms of just like on a technical sort of schedule level that can help out and hopefully make things a bit more, give you guys more options in terms of what you want to do. So one of the things is we record on a regular basis. Like Mondays is when the podcast with Castle Super Beast happens, and then throughout the week, we're kind of recording with the guys. And in theory, this schedule gets shifted every now and then. Like currently in this season, there's a lot happening, so that has gotten moved around a bunch. But in a regular season where I'm not where I don't have as many obligations and traveling and things like that, it's a much more set schedule. So with that, what I'd like to do is kind of do what I've been doing with this new currently ongoing Naruto LP. We're going to be streaming most of the LP process. So basically, the stuff that's currently ongoing right now, in terms of Death Stranding, in terms of Indivisible and Naruto, during the day, during our recording periods, which is usually around like 1 or 2 p.m., we'll just stream that stuff. So you guys, if you're around, you can jump in live, and we will continue to like go forward as we were. So like I have things set up in such a way where I can stream directly to you guys on Twitch, and then separately record the video and audio in the way we do normally, so that the end result will kind of get put on YouTube in the same format that it's always been. But if you're watching along at home on Twitch, you can kind of catch us in the process. And we talk a little bit like before and after we record, but during the actual process of streaming, we're not going to be acknowledging the chat too much or anything like that. So it's kind of more or less keeping it as to what we're doing, but you're getting a look into like the stream sessions on Twitch if you want to jump ahead on those. But yeah, otherwise the LPs will kind of continue with the same process where I take the footage afterwards and put it up episodically. So that's going to be more or less the regular weekly schedule, with Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. During the day, we're going to be going through those different LPs on Twitch. So that was one thing that helps. The other thing is get into fighting games going forward is as well something that, like, because it was on Tuesday nights, it would things whenever it got bumped forward, or whenever we didn't have an expert guest to come on and teach about fighting games, it was going to be really hard to figure out how to get one of those streams going. So in order to sort of address that, we want to make sure we can just, it doesn't always have to be like that type of episode. Like I want, like there's definitely, based on the feedback, some people would like to see some fighting game content on a more frequent basis, and there is still games that we can get around to, and even if we don't have an expert necessarily to come in and sort of teach us the ropes and get technical with it, we can just pop a game in and shoot the shit and have fun, just play some games with each other, get salty, and then jump online and play with anyone else who's on, including, if you guys are following along on the stream as well, and we can play some games with you guys as well. So I'm going to be basically having Get Into Fighting Games is going to have a little moniker at the end that's either Get Into Fighting Games for fun or Get Into Fighting Games for glory. So each of those is going to pretty much be like when we have someone in town, we have a guest and they can sit in and we can lab and learn together, then that'll be for glory. And otherwise, if we're just popping in a game and shooting the shit and having fun with it, then it'll be Get Into Fighting Games for fun. So please look forward to that. That's going to be happening on Thursday nights because that works better for not getting bumped as much, being the day after the podcast. So that's also going to be happening. And then, what else came from that? Well, there was Fridays where this is more of a just like behind the scenes thing, but based on the feedback in terms of like, majority of people are still about those LPs, but there definitely is people that want to see a sizable amount want to see more of things like Kirby lore and just little scripted skits and pop-off report news and even in terms of video essays and things like that. Like these are all types of content that take a lot of time, and thus it's been hard to sort of try and work it into my schedule regularly. But if I dedicate Fridays towards working on that stuff, I hope that a couple times a month I can at least get a few of those things done. And I'm going to include Woolie Will Figure Out in that category as well. So I would like that to become sort of a production day for me to, like, when we're not recording an LP, just work on some of the, like, extra stuff, and that is hopefully something that can just keep variety coming out, keep a regular pace of, some of this extra fun stuff. I don't know how much time it'll take to work on that stuff on Fridays, but I think if I alternate every now and then and, put a few plus some hours, of course, during the week towards whatever it is, and with the help of some editors that I work with, can probably get, again, that done more often than not at all, which is like currently, when things get a little bit swamped. So that's what's going to be happening for me on Fridays. And then Saturdays, the Saturday streams, right? So that was something that, I was trying to figure out. It's the variety stream was the like sort of official way that was labeled. That'll continue, but that'll just be more accurate towards its name. So for a bit there, that was kind of when I'd pop in a game randomly, if there's something out of left field, we'd play them on stream on on Saturday nights. And now what I definitely want to do with that is have that be, that's the night where we can do party games if we're going to play anything that fits into the category of race wars, if we're going to do anything that fits into Puzzle Boys, or games that are just more like, good for like a single night of just wacky fun, things like Crawl and anything we've had a lot of fun with, just like getting together. And again, like Salt Party, all the games like that fit into those categories. We'd like to throw those all in on a variety stream on Saturday nights, and we can do more than one, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And then of course, when once that's done, we're going to also get those as videos out on the channel. So Saturday should be really fun from now on. yeah, I kind of don't want to get, sort of bogged down by like kind of what happened where it's like, oh man, like got to get through Sekiro and got to find the free Saturdays. Saturdays hopefully can be a sort of consistent fun night where it doesn't matter where you're jumping in or jumping out. We just want to, get a group together and have a good time. So, yeah, that's kind of what it's going to turn into. And it's leaving my week with less free time than there was before. So, that's the downside of this. But I think in the long term, it'll be a really good idea to stabilize and, get people used to like that sort of schedule. And again, that's the benefit right there, is that I can actually now announce a bit of a schedule and let people know, in advance on Twitter. This is what's coming up this week. Tune in if you kind of want to get, if you want to get updated on what's what. So yeah, I'll be able to say like, Tuesday we're streaming this, Wednesday and Thursday we're doing that. Thursdays are going to be the big days because we have the daytime game and then the nighttime get into fighting games. But I'm hoping that this increased activity on the stream side of things will work for a lot of you guys, and then beyond that, like it'll also allow us to hopefully get through our LPs in a pretty expeditious pace, I'd say. Especially if some of you want to stay up by following along on the streams and such. But for the most part, like I said, the channel will continue as is and have a little bit of extra varieties of game type sprinkled in there. And yeah, of course, none of this is locked in. This is all just sort of like what I'm trying out for now, based on the feedback, based on how things feel, based on what I am capable of doing. And any of this is subject to change. If if I'm unable to just keep up with the schedule, if I just burn myself out, then I'm absolutely not going to like keep to it. And I'm well aware that a big part of anytime something like this changes is making sure that like I'm able to comfortably keep up with it. So that will be something I'm taking a look at. And yeah, one final thing is to a lot of you that were very kind and had a lot of nice things to say towards creating a Patreon. Definitely hear you on that. And what I decided to do is there's things that go along with making a Patreon that are a bit more technical, but besides that, like I guess I kind of was like, hey, well, one thing that does exist right now is that I do have a little donation button on my Twitch, the underneath part where all the descriptions go and stuff. So I just kind of included that in the YouTube descriptions as a tip jar. So that way, again, it's like, if that's something that you wanted to do, and a lot of people did mention that, I'm super thankful and kindly appreciate the words you have. That should do. That should be fine. Like I just putting in a little thing like that for me feels like it should be good enough, and kind of is in the same spirit of pretty much creating that Patreon that you guys were talking about. So for now, yeah, I think that feels good. And the Reggie and Min definitely also agree and think that like this schedule and this pacing should make sense. And I'm feeling pretty good going forward. I'm feeling like we can keep this up and make things work pretty strongly into 2020. So with that, that's about it. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for watching WoolieVersus.